Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dr. Andrew Kim M.D. I'm a board certified psychiatrist, and today's video is called Signs of Perfectionism. And in order to kind of fight against my own tendency to be perfectionistic at times, I have my notes here. Rather than trying to act all perfect and try to get the perfect take, we're just going to roll with it. I'm going to read off some notes and we're going to talk about this. So first of all, perfectionism is on a spectrum, okay? So I want to be clear. There's nothing pathological about being driven, conscientious about details, about wanting to have high quality work done to reach your goals. But when that balance is lost, okay, there can be unhealthy consequences. I mean, you can get anxious, you can feel depressed, kind of downtrodden, really hard on yourself. You can feel like you now have an unhealthy work-life balance and actually have decreased productivity and performance rather than the opposite. You'd think that if I'm perfectionistic, I'm always going to be highly driven, reach my goals. Not always the case, actually, okay? So here are some subtle signs to help you distinguish when we're trying to be just high achievers and it's kind of a healthy thing versus signs of being overly perfectionistic in our tendencies. So I'll start reading off my list. So number one, if you feel that you are being driven by fear, rather than being motivated and working towards your goals, you are simply being driven by fear. You say, I fear making a mistake. Anything less than perfect is unacceptable. And if this is what's underlying my push to reach goals, that is concerning. And I take a look at that if I were you. Number two, having a tendency to have all or nothing thinking, okay? Even if mistakes were made along the way, or maybe your goal wasn't exactly met, just partially met. Oftentimes high achievers are satisfied and say, look, hey, we met part of our goal, didn't go exactly as planned, let's learn from our mistakes. And you can exhibit some degree of flexibility and grace, where if you're overly perfectionistic, you may say anything less than perfect is just unacceptable, okay? And even how you got there. Maybe you're not even happy with how you even achieved the goal, which I know can sound strange. Number three, another sign might be the tendency to procrastinate. You might be saying to yourself, well, how can you procrastinate if you're a highly driven perfectionist? But here's the thing. If you are so perfectionistic about even how you go about doing your work, you may not even start working on your projects or your tasks or your work until you're like, I have to get it just right. And worrying about even just doing things a certain particular way or perfectionistic way may end up paralyzing you, slowing you down and making you immobile to make decisions. What is a more useful skill than doing it perfectly right every time is adaptability and flexibility. Can you adapt and be flexible given the situation, the circumstances, the people you're working with, and shift with that versus being rigid? And it's because of this rigidity found in perfectionism where you may end up procrastinating and actually not be very productive, and it may take a hit on your performance. Number four, being overly defensive, okay? Not that we all like to be criticized or we all want to even hear constructive criticism, but high achievers in a healthy way can say, look, I welcome some feedback because I know this is in efforts to try to better myself and to learn and grow, where a perfectionist may become hostile and overly defensive and view even constructive feedback as a threat, okay? And finally, focusing only on the results themselves and not the journey, okay? And they may be so, perfectionists, when we are thinking in a perfectionistic mentality, we are only thinking about the end result and being totally perfect, achieving the goal and achieving it in the way we envisioned, all right? Sometimes it is about the journey, and the journey itself may be crucial. And I know it's a cliche phrase, but oftentimes we learn the most from our mistakes. And if we don't have that mindset, we're limiting ourselves with the ability to grow and mature. So these are a few signs of perfectionism, and I hopefully, if some of these resonate with you, my description to you of what to do next is, look, it's not something to get alarmed at or say that I'm a pathological person. It's just, how do you find the balance? Like I said, this is on a spectrum, okay? There's nothing wrong with being driven and detail-oriented, but don't lose the balance so that it becomes an unhealthy detriment, an obstacle to achieving your goals. Hopefully you found that little summary about perfectionism useful. Dr. Andrew Kim, until next time.